If you're a diehard Browns fan and love breaking down the game like we do, hit that subscribe button and turn on the bell so you never miss a blitz. Some comments can change the entire tone of a draft season, and Andrew Berry, the Cleveland Browns general manager, might have just done exactly that. In a moment that sparked as much intrigue as it did speculation, Berry openly praised Alabama quarterback Jalen Milroe in a way that could ripple through front offices across the NFL. His words weren't just complimentary. They hinted at something more, something that could lead to a surprise on draft night. With a casual smile and a lighthearted jab, Berry said, "When he gets in the NFL, he may be the only quarterback who's faster than Lamar Jackson. Don't tell Lamar I said that, please." That kind of statement, coming from a GM known for being deliberate and calculated, wasn't just a throwaway comment. It was a deliberate nod toward a quarterback whose athletic profile might be even more exceptional than people realize. And it certainly didn't go unnoticed. Jalen Milroe, the dynamic dual-threat quarterback from Alabama, is no stranger to comparisons with Lamar Jackson. Those whispers have followed him all throughout the pre-draft process. But Berry's comment added fuel to a fire that had already been quietly building. Standing 6'2" and weighing 217 pounds, Milroe shocked scouts when he reportedly clocked a 4.37-second 40-yard dash at his pro day in March. That kind of speed isn't just impressive, it's rare, especially for a quarterback. But raw speed is only part of the story. Over the course of 4 seasons at Alabama, Milroe piled up 1,577 rushing yards and 33 touchdowns on the ground. His explosiveness made him a constant threat with the ball in his hands. Still, as is often the case with athletic quarterbacks, the real question isn't about what he can do with his legs. It's about whether he can do enough with his arm. Milroe's passing production hasn't silenced the critics. In his final year at Alabama, he threw 16 touchdowns against 11 interceptions in 13 games. It's not a stat line that leaps off the page, especially in a college landscape where top quarterbacks often post video game numbers. And yet, when you watch the tape, you can't help but see flashes, moments where he delivers an NFL-caliber throw under pressure, shows poise in the pocket, or throws a deep ball with perfect touch. NFL.com's Lance Zierlein noted in his scouting report that Milroe has an NFL arm, but he also pointed to a need for refinement, particularly in his footwork, which could be the key to unlocking more consistent accuracy. The tools are there. What's missing, perhaps, is the polish. And that's exactly where Cleveland might come in. The Browns are in a curious situation under center. With Deshaun Watson expected to miss most of the upcoming season due to an Achilles injury, they've already made moves to stabilize the position. Joe Flacco, the seasoned veteran, was brought in on a 1-year deal. They also made a surprising trade to bring in Kenny Pickett from the Eagles, adding another layer of experience and competition to the mix. But what if the Browns aren't just preparing for this season? What if they're eyeing the future? Berry, in discussing quarterback development, made a subtle but powerful point. Patrick Mahomes sat his whole first year, he said. Josh Allen, it really took to year 3 for him to become Josh Allen. Lamar probably hit the ground running, but Jalen Hurts? People were doubting him until year 3. In other words, the league's current quarterback stars weren't all immediate sensations. Some needed time, some needed patience. And Berry made it clear that Cleveland is willing to invest in long-term potential over short-term splash. If you read between the lines, Berry's comments suggest that he sees something in Milroe worth developing. That doesn't mean the Browns will take him with their early second-round pick. But it does suggest that if Milroe is still available later in the draft, Cleveland could very well pull the trigger. It wouldn't be the first time a highly athletic quarterback with questions about his passing slid down the board. It also wouldn't be the first time a team took a calculated risk on a player with the kind of upside that can reshape a franchise. For Milroe, the path to NFL success might not come right away. He might not be ready to step in as a starter on day 1. But in the right system, with the right mentorship and the luxury of time, like the kind Cleveland seems willing to offer, he could be more than just a speedster with potential. He could be the next breakout quarterback in a league that thrives on unpredictability. The 2025 NFL Draft, scheduled for April 24th to 26th in Green Bay, now carries one more intriguing subplot. All eyes will be on where Milroe lands. And if the Browns make the call, it might not be as surprising as it first seems. Because when a general manager like Andrew Berry speaks with that kind of conviction, it's often worth listening. Especially when he's already imagining a future where his quarterback might just be faster than Lamar Jackson. And who knows? Maybe that comment wasn't just a compliment. Maybe it was a preview. Enjoying the content so far? Smash that like button and drop your take in the comments. We want to hear what you think about the Browns this season. It was the kind of announcement that didn't just shake a franchise, but rattled the entire NFL landscape. When the Cleveland Browns took to social media earlier today and officially confirmed the arrival of quarterback Lamar Jackson, the football world exploded into a frenzy. This wasn't just another transaction. This was a moment of seismic proportions, an MVP-caliber quarterback leaving behind years of legacy with a division rival and now donning the orange and brown. The response was immediate, and it was loud. Fans were stunned. Rivals were livid. And in Cleveland, emotions were split between disbelief, hope, and pure adrenaline. For months, rumors had quietly brewed beneath the surface. Whispers of discontent in Baltimore. Talk of stalled contract negotiations. Speculation that Jackson, ever the competitor and never one to shy away from the spotlight, might be eyeing a fresh chapter elsewhere. But no one expected that new chapter to be written just down the road in Ohio. Lamar Jackson, the face of the Ravens for so many seasons, the man who tormented Cleveland defenses year after year, was now wearing the very colors he used to burn under the lights. That's the twist no one saw coming. The Browns front office had been eerily quiet in recent weeks. After their early playoff exit and another year of underachieving despite a talented roster, many believed they'd once again stick with the status quo. Deshaun Watson's situation remained murky, still under the microscope, still far from convincing. Yet behind the scenes, the wheels were turning. Executives and scouts had reportedly been in contact with Jackson's representatives, gauging interest, exploring possibilities. And somehow, they pulled off the unthinkable. They brought in one of the league's most dynamic, electrifying, and polarizing players. As soon as the news hit, Browns fans flooded online platforms with a mix of reactions. Some were ecstatic, seeing this as a bold, franchise-altering move that could finally pull Cleveland out of mediocrity and into true Super Bowl contention. Others were shocked, even conflicted. After all, Jackson had been the enemy for so long. They'd booed him, feared him, cursed his name in heartbreak after heartbreak. And now he was one of them. It was almost too much to process in one breath. The city of Cleveland has been starving for a football savior for decades. Bernie Kosar, Baker Mayfield, names that briefly ignited hope but ultimately fell short. The arrival of Lamar Jackson, though, feels different. This is a proven winner. A former league MVP. A player who can change the trajectory of a game with one flick of the wrist or one juke past a helpless linebacker. He brings swagger. He brings attention. He brings primetime matchups and playoff expectations. But he also brings pressure. Because now, there are no more excuses. The Browns have a defense that ranks among the best in the league. They've got a solid offensive line, elite skill players, and now, they have their quarterback. The fans will demand results. Ownership will expect wins. And Jackson himself will want to prove that he made the right choice. That walking away from the franchise that drafted him wasn't a mistake, but a necessary evolution. And doing that in Cleveland, of all places, adds a dramatic twist to the journey. Baltimore fans, unsurprisingly, are in mourning. For them, it's not just the loss of a player, it's the betrayal. They watched Jackson grow from a raw prospect into a superstar. They defended him through criticism, cheered through injuries, and trusted he'd bring them to the promised land. Watching him walk away was painful enough. Watching him walk into the arms of a bitter rival? That's a wound that might not heal anytime soon. Social media was filled with heartbreak, confusion, and plenty of unfiltered rage from Ravens fans. And yet, the move makes sense. Jackson, as talented as he is, never quite got the full support he needed in Baltimore. The front office failed time and time again to surround him with top-tier receiving talent. The scheme often boxed in his creativity rather than letting him thrive in open space. And while he always said the right things, you could sense the frustration in his play. Now in Cleveland, with a coaching staff eager to innovate and an arsenal of weapons at his disposal, he might finally have the freedom to fully realize the quarterback he was always meant to be. Training camp will be a spectacle. Every throw, every run, every glance at a playbook will be dissected. The media will descend on Cleveland like vultures circling, waiting for either flight or failure. And Lamar? He's used to the spotlight. He's been doubted before. He's been counted out, questioned, and underestimated at every stage of his career. This, for him, is just another opportunity to silence the noise. The Browns, for their part, made it clear in their official statement that this wasn't just about adding talent. It was about changing identity. They believe Jackson is the final piece of a puzzle that's been missing for far too long. The franchise has known pain, turmoil, and dysfunction for years. But this, they claim, is a new era. And it begins with number 8 under center. Cleveland's schedule just became must-watch television. Every AFC North showdown now comes with added venom. Every snap against the Ravens will be a theater of drama, with Lamar at the heart of it all. You can already picture it, the boos raining down in Baltimore, the camera cutting to Jackson smirking beneath his helmet, the stakes impossibly high. There's no doubt that this move has rewritten the AFC narrative. Kansas City, Cincinnati, Buffalo, all of them now have to deal with a Cleveland team that suddenly looks like a juggernaut on paper. Of course, games aren't won on spreadsheets. The chemistry has to click. The system has to evolve. The locker room has to believe. But if it does, if it all falls into place, we could be witnessing the birth of something special. And so, the NFL enters a new chapter. Lamar Jackson, no longer the pride of Baltimore but the hope of Cleveland, stands at the center of it all. The fans are still trying to wrap their heads around it. The analysts are scrambling to adjust their power rankings. And somewhere in Ohio, a franchise that's long been the punchline of the league may have just pulled off the ultimate plot twist. This isn't just a trade. This isn't just business. This is football at its most dramatic, its most emotional, its most unpredictable. And the Browns, for better or worse, are right at the heart of the storm.